105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
Hafaday and welcome to Cop Talk. I'm Norman Analista. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Guam Police Department. And with me in studio, this is an honor to have her on the show. I think it's probably been over a year and a half since Sergeant Maggie Napati has been on the show. Well, welcome back, Sergeant.
Thank you, Hafaday listeners and Hafaday Norman.
So, Sarge, if you could just provide some background, because I know what division you work in, but if you could introduce yourself to our audience, that would be great.
Well, again, I'm Sergeant Maggie Napati, Sergeant 2 with the Guam Police Department, and I'm currently assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division, and I oversee the operations for the Juvenile Investigations Section and the Domestic Assault Response Team, as well as the Special Victims Unit and the Victims Advocates Unit.
All right, welcome once again, Sarge. So the topic today is going to focus on National Safety Month, and as us talk show hosts think about, when we come up with topics, oftentimes we consult with Google, and then we find, hey, did you know that this month, the month of June, is National Safety Month? So I did a little bit of research on that, and I thought that it would tie in very well with a lot of the things that we are doing with the Guam Police Department. After all, this is Cop Talk, so the topic should focus around the work of law enforcement and more specifically the Guam Police Department. But in case you weren't sure, or in case you never heard of National Safety Month, so this is observed in every June, and it's an annual initiative by the National Safety Council to raise awareness about safety and promote safer behaviors in workplaces, homes, and communities. And the goal is to prevent injuries and deaths by highlighting leading causes of preventable incidents and encouraging safety practices. So we're not affiliated with the National Safety Council, but this is certainly something that we thought was a worthwhile observation to tie in for the month of June. And specifically with the Guam Police Department, obviously we're concerned about safety for the island community. So I wanted to shed light on raising awareness about certain preventable injuries and deaths by encouraging safety practices. And if we're talking about the focus of National Safety Month, we're looking at focusing on topics, tips. The purpose, of course, is to reduce preventable injuries and deaths in all aspects of life. And also this National Safety Council provides free resources on their website. They're a 501c3 nonprofit public service organization. And just in the cursory look at their website, I found that there's lots of different resources that people can look into. But Sarge, you're here, and you have a wealth of knowledge and expertise. And as I kind of lay the foundation of where we're going to go with today's topic, there are a number of different questions that I prepared. But of course, this conversation can go anywhere you want it to go. Totally.
Well, I mean, it's a great thing to talk about safety, and thankfully, the police department exists on our island because we're in the business of public safety, and providing education through prevention, or prevention through education, and tips, highlighting most especially, in my experience, safety tips for parents and youth during summer has always been an annual topic of conversation.
Yes,
and,
definitely.
I mean, looking at the wider topic, I think there's much to discuss maybe throughout the month of July as well. Safety can, in police work is both internal and external.
Right.
And we talk about that. There's in our field, work the workplace is a large extension. We don't only have a workplace in the precinct or in our offices. Our workspace or workplace is everywhere we respond, whether it's boots to the ground on the road directing traffic, in a foot pursuit in the jungle, or servicing somebody in need out in the public. But it's a great topic, and I'm glad you chose it.
Well, a lot of times it's about reminding the community and reminding ourselves, right, about some of the actions that we can take that promote overall well-being and prioritizing safety practices. And if we're talking about taking ownership of this initiative? Do you think that's a personal decision that we each have to make, a commitment to say, I'm going to take on practices that are safe and that will mitigate potential accidents or whatever it is? Do you think that's a personal commitment we have to make to ourselves?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as an employee of the government of Guam, we are subject to ensuring that we provide a safe workplace and safety for both the employees and the public we serve, especially within our facilities.
Yes. So with regard to your particular position and your area of supervision, do you have to be enforcing workplace safety protocols?
Absolutely, especially in my assignment as the operations sergeant. Everything operation is my oversight. That goes to say taking charge of equipment, ensuring that the officer's equipment is functional and works effectively for when it's supposed to be used or deployed by the officers they are assigned to. Vehicle inventory, ensuring that coordination is made with our support division to ensure that vehicles that are under our section or our division are in safe working conditions, so that when we respond out or we're conducting follow-up investigations, that we have all the equipment and tools, vehicles that we need to work efficiently and safely.
So definitely as the operations sergeant, you're concerned about the equipment and also ensuring that they go in for routine maintenance. If there are issues, nip it at the bud, get it repaired and everything like that so that it can operate safely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
amazing. And the thing about you, Sarge, of course, you deal with the community as well. So not only internally as an operations sergeant, looking at the operations and the runnings of the department from that internal perspective, you also work with the community. What sort of advice or what sort of things, I know this is a broad topic, but what are sort of the things that maybe the community doesn't really think about, but are critical to keeping themselves and others around them safe?
Prevention. Definitely prevention. Trying to see things ahead of, like having a foresight, right, on what could potentially happen, being prepared. For example, it was raining this morning, so that might be a foresight or forethought to that might be the anticipated change in weather. So what would I do to prepare for that? Bring a rain jacket, make sure that I'm cognizant of the conditions of the roadway, make sure that I keep a safe distance from the vehicle in front of me, make sure that I reduce my speed to overcome any challenges I might be met with on the road. If there's not enough traction or if the roads are wet, I'm able to give myself enough time, reaction time, to in any unforeseen incident or potential incident.
Absolutely. And in addition to making this personal commitment to yourself to practice, to be more safe with your practices, it's also about being very conscientious, right? About those around you, not necessarily just your loved ones, but just everybody in our community and how your actions may impact them if you're not making wise decisions, especially when you're out driving on the roads and all that. So if we're thinking about a time where you may have identified a safety hazard and how you addressed it, I know, of course, we don't want to divulge too many details. But just generally speaking, have you encountered these sort of things, or how often do you encounter these sort of things?
Absolutely, it could be on a daily basis, right? We do equipment checks, function checks. We make that initial assessment anytime we operate an official vehicle. It happens on a daily, but
yeah, here working at the Guam Police Department. Sorry, excuse me, my phone just
it's okay.
that rang because I'm getting a call
Okay,
from dispatch. But these are the sort of things that you cannot just put things on hold. You have to multitask, right? And it's just about, okay, if I need to multitask and I need to be prepared for X, Y, and Z, what is my game plan? Sometimes it really means just sitting down and writing it and being very intentional and conscious about the decisions and efforts, right?
Absolutely, but it doesn't need to be anything complex.
Right.
Just using the example of the weather, it's just very basic essentials that if we are only prepared, we can prevent, right? So much like the information that's being put out about typhoon preparedness.
Yes.
We have an idea of what to expect and what are the essential things that we need to prepare for that. What do we need to set aside? What do we need to keep in mind?
Absolutely. Now, in the context of you as an operational sergeant, what do you think about when it comes to staying updated on changes to safety regulations, or just there's constant updates, right? We know that during the course of business, we will always have updates, system updates, IT updates, and what have you. How do you keep track of all of that stuff?
It can be overwhelming. But as I mentioned at the start of the show, we're in the business of public safety, so it's our job, it's our duty to maintain up to date on particular areas of safety. During crime prevention, most of the outreach we go out to the different stores that are open during our curfew enforcement. We go out to the different convenience stores and mom and pop stores, and we just do a quick assessment on their security to ensure that one, they're operating in a safe manner. They're not. They have the correct signage that's posted for sale of alcohol and tobacco, vape products. And we also give them tips on how to ensure that they prevent any break-ins, any instances of theft, and to also use them as a force multiplier to educate adults and minors, adults who may be approached by a juvenile or a minor to purchase alcohol, tobacco products, or vape, or vice versa. A youth is asking, and that's not far-fetched, right? That's not far-fetched that those transactions do happen, and we've been successful in some of the enforcement operations that we've done. But we use these store owners and their employees as force multipliers to I guess to perpetuate that message of the dangers of the sale of alcohol, tobacco, and vape products to youth.
So the store owners and their employees, obviously they have to be trained and sometimes retrained because their area of knowledge won't necessarily be focused on public safety. It'll be more about the retail operation and so forth. So that's sometimes not foremost in their mind. How often do you think you have to have these conversations with these store owners so that the information you're giving to them sticks?
We try to do it on these enforcement operations and these outreaches on a quarterly basis, and we don't just stop by the store and give them a pamphlet. We take the time to have conversations with them, get to know who the owner is, how do we contact them, how can they contact us if they have any questions. I'll walk around the store, just do an assessment on their security measures, their entrance, exit doors.
So if I'm a store owner and I'm listening to this, or I'm an employee and the place where I'm working at, I notice that there might be some gaps in safety. How would they avail of these services? How do they contact you?
They can contact our dispatch at 671-475-8615 through 7. They can request to be connected to myself or a representative of the Guam Police Department that should have that information easily accessible to disseminate to the public. And if they're wanting to meet one-on-one with an officer, they can definitely contact me, and we can set up an appointment or schedule a meeting where we could have that one-on-one conversation.
Sergeant Maggie, earlier we talked about making the personal commitment to practice, safety measures, and then also being very conscientious about the community. But what about building this safety culture, right, where it becomes infectious in a good way, where everyone feels like they need to take responsibility for that? How do we create that culture of safety?
I think creating the conversation and maintaining it. How do we create that conversation where everybody's comfortable to say something, right? And if you look at Title 16, and this goes on safety too, Title 16, I believe it's subsection 3346, the restriction of using mobile phones while operating a motor vehicle, right? The only exception to that, right, and the good thing about exceptions, right, if you know the exception, then you must know the rule. The only exception to that is mobile phone use during emergencies or to call law enforcement, right? So if we start creating that conversation, that open line of communication on anything dealing with safety, I think that we would encourage and even perpetuate a culture where it's okay to talk about that. If I see something going on in the community that's not safe, I'm not afraid to pick up the phone and call somebody that might be able to help prevent injury or prevent a crisis situation at that from occurring. I can get that individual or individuals the necessary help they need, and maybe even provide education. A lot of things occur because of lack of information, lack of education on that particular area of.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that, Sergeant Maggie. If we're looking at the website, the National Safety Council's website, they do have some information about driver cell phone use. And according to their website, over the last 10 years, the prevalence of drivers using handheld cell phones at any given daylight moment has decreased, actually, from 4.3% of drivers in 2014 to 2.1% in 2023. And I'm sure it's a lot of times people are using their Bluetooth and their mindset has changed. And of course, the laws state that you can't use your cell phones while driving. So it's not surprising to see that drop. But when it comes to this whole general topic of distracted driving, it's not just about making phone calls. It's also about texting.
Yes.
It's also about looking at social media. Some people try to squeeze in posts, while they're at and I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just saying I know that this happens, in case you're wondering. But I know that that's how individuals are distracted while they're driving. Also, reaching towards different parts of their vehicles during a stop, So it's not just about the use of electronic devices, but it's just generally being distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how could something like that lead to the worst case scenario? Have you seen that?
Well, when that occurs, when drivers are distracted, their attention is split, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been a time where you maybe had a long or a hard day at work, right?
Yeah.
And you get in the car, you're ready to go home, and by the time you know it, you're pulling up in your driveway. You realize you didn't play any music, and you weren't even aware of the drive home, right? It's just kind of like autopilot.
Yes.
Right. So that type of distraction can add to that split in attention. Right. And not being aware of your surroundings, not being able to have that period of time where you can be prepared to react to anything or any challenges or any obstacles that you're met with on the road, whether it's, something in the roadway. I recently pulled one of those storage tubs off the middle of the road. And I'm just assuming that the driver didn't know that it may have fallen off either their truck or their vehicle or maybe even a trash truck, it kind of maybe flew off. But that could be an obstacle that if I'm not paying attention or I'm distracted, even in my own mind, right, I could have a delayed reaction or I could collide with that object and, I don't know, run off the road or...
Yeah, absolutely. And, if we're talking about serious crashes, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, they report that 3,275 people died in distraction-affected crashes in 2023. So although the usage of handheld phones has dropped by a couple percentage points, obviously we still are experiencing deaths in the 4 digits. And so on Guam in particular, do you notice whether or not there is a prevalence of people using their phones and distracted driving?
Yes, because we live in a world that is technology driven and access to information and communicating with others has increased at a faster rate. People want responses. People are waiting for responses. They want to share their thoughts, a quick, fast, and in a hurry. That we're not aware of the potential dangers it might pose to ourselves and other people.
And so to clarify, I can say that I'm still learning. I've only been 3 months at the Guam Police Department. So the questions that I'm asking is very exploratory because I'm still learning. I haven't, been here long enough to be exposed to the laws and the law enforcement that goes with it. So obviously using your cell phone, period, while driving is against the law. To provide some clarification, even though you're at a stop sign, you still should not take out your phone and use it.
At a stop sign, at a traffic stop, or any delays on the travel portion of the roadway, it is a violation.
Absolutely.
It's yeah, it is what it is.
There's no way, if and around about this.
The only
Do
exceptions
not-
again
Yes, except
are
for.
an emergency or to call law enforcement.
And even with that, Sergeant Maggie, we would suggest that they pull over
Yes.
to a
Pull over
safe.
to a safe place, come to a complete stop, put that vehicle in park, and make the call that you need to.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I was watching this documentary on Netflix, and it dealt with the use of social media, especially amongst maybe the Generation Y and Generation Z individuals. And what they were reporting in this documentary suggests that individuals are actually addicted to the use of these electronic devices, which makes it very difficult. Now, some of them may not be at the driving age yet, but when they become drivers, are they still going to be addicted to these devices? What are some practical tips that you could tell them? Because if you're going to have your phone beside you, and you just have this urge to check your social media updates or send a text or what have you, then obviously that's something that's against the law. What are some practical tips we would say? Like put your phones or your devices in the glove compartment,
Yeah,
keep
turn
it out of sight.
Turn it off, put it on silent, put it in the glove box or somewhere you can't reach. So if you hear it go off, you're not tempted to for it to be within reach for you to check the message or answer the call or send that or post that story.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It can wait, right? It can
it
absolutely wait.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
our highway patrol division, they do a lot of distracted driving campaigns. They also do speed checks, and I believe it's click it or ticket.
Yes.
I've never been assigned to highway patrol.
Ah,
so-
okay. Well, if anybody in this room, including Reese the Beast, you would know full well what the consequences are of distracted driving. And oftentimes, right, Reese, we just hear about it. We hear these campaigns, we hear about these PSAs, and for those of us who sometimes tell ourselves, well, that's not me. I don't have that problem, But it's very easy to fall into that trap if you just start, letting loose a little bit with regard to the discipline of not using your phones. You think, well, if I get to a stop sign, which we already covered, you can't you use it no matter what, right? But Sergeant Maggie, you have seen the consequences of people not paying attention to those PSAs, are not heeding the warnings. Do you have anything in particular that you could share that you may have heard of or seen while working in the department about the seriousness of not listening to that advice of not texting and calling while on the phone?
Well, I couldn't agree more. There are serious consequences that can come from distracted driving. Traffic fatalities being the number one for sure. But I think if we all pour a lot of effort into prevention on the front end, we can see less and less of these serious consequences on the back end of things. And it all starts with, modeling safe driving. And that could start anywhere from, when children see their parents driving and they see them, communicating or using their phone, becomes like a learned behavior, right? An acceptable behavior. When 15-and-a-half-year-olds go for their learner's permit, when they attend the course, I believe it's required by statute that these driving schools provide some type of summary of the law and the consequences for the violations on it, and early habits. Make it an early habit to stow away your phone so that it's not in reach, and then just getting acclimated to that daily routine would help prevent a lot of those serious consequences. But I've seen the serious traffic crashes, and definitely it could wait.
Yes. And so in case you're tuning in, the topic this morning is National Safety Month, and we're looking at preventable deaths or ways to prevent deaths based on practices that we choose to engage in or not engage in. And of course, distracted driving is one of them. And we just touched on, individuals waiting to use their cell phones for when it's safe. And just for a reminder, Sergeant Maggie, what are the exceptions again for using the cell phones?
If it's an emergency situation and to call law enforcement.
Got it. Now, if we're talking about sticking with the roadways and safe practices, seatbelts and child restraints are definitely things that we need to also be very mindful of. And I remember as a kid, maybe in elementary school, hearing about using seatbelts because it's now the law, right? So this has been a message that's been ingrained in Guam residents for generations. Do you think that there still are individuals that choose not to use seatbelts out on the roads?
I do, and that's unfortunate. We encourage everyone to wear their seatbelts while in a vehicle, not just the driver, because seatbelts do save lives. They're installed in vehicles for a reason. They have a purpose, and it's to save a life.
And Sarge, for clarification, because I'm not 100% on this, so of course the driver, front passenger, they have to wear seatbelts. What does the law say with regard to passengers in the rear seats?
Everybody should be in a seatbelt.
So everybody should be in a seatbelt. Okay, got it. And then with regard to child restraints, of course, when you purchase the product, sometimes it'll tell you. Well, there's a difference between booster seats and car seats, right?
Yes.
And I know that sometimes individuals still put their child in the car seats even though they've outgrown the car seat.
Yes, I believe the child restraint systems, the car seats, they go by pounds. They go by weight as opposed to height, right? But there's different I guess, styles or models that could accommodate height and weight. There's I want to say I've seen an increase, just personally, my personal observations. I've seen an increase in the use of car seats because they've become quite fashionable.
Wow.
And
Fashionable in what way? As in like different colors?
Yeah,
or as
colors,
in everyone's
design, the new things coming out. Yeah, I've seen them on Instagram. It's I think it's a thing. Yeah.
So now, with regard to the placement of these car seats, should the child, let's say you have one operator of the vehicle and no one else is in the vehicle except for the infant that's in the car seat.
I know where you're going with this.
Yes.
Not in the front seat.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying that.
There's forward facing and then rear facing, and that's also by age and the development of the child. Obviously, there's the rear facing car seat is because of the development of the infant or baby is not so much as a toddler or a young child. But read the directions, follow the safety tips on it, and use it for its intended purpose and how it's meant to be used.
And of course, these products, when they're sold, the box will provide all the instructions with regard to the weight that it accommodates and how it should be properly installed. I used to work for an auto dealership, and this particular dealership had outreach programs that they would host probably several times a year where they would show parents how to properly install their car seats and the booster seats.
Yeah, Office of Highway Safety and our Highway Patrol Division, they do outreach as well on how to properly install a car seat. But if there's any listeners out there that want to learn more, they can reach out to our Highway Patrol Division. They can be connected to them through our dispatch, again, at 671-475-8615, or also visit them online or visit the National Institute of Highway Safety, NHTSA. I believe they have some educational material on how to properly install and use a car seat child restraint system.
Yes. Well, when I was a lot younger, I remember, I don't want to say that the laws were relaxed. Maybe it was within our own family, we weren't just paying attention as much. This was when I was still a toddler, a kid. But I do remember, and a lot of, I think maybe some folks still do this. They allow their child to sit in the console, or the child wants to sit in the console area where it's not attached to a car seat or a booster seat. What would you say to those parents who allow that to happen?
I definitely educate them as far as the traffic code, and that it is a violation, and also the bigger picture. If the parents are in a restraint system, or if they have their seatbelt on and their young child is jumping around on the center console or sitting in the center console because they think it's cool, or they think it's going to be a fun time. They want to be the cool parent. Just giving them an idea of the serious consequences that await should something happen, because they could be the best driver in the world. They can be so confident in their driving skills, but what about the other drivers, right? That's something that my mom always told me as a new driver is, I trust your driving skills. I trust you, but it's the other drivers I don't trust. There's no telling, when something's going to be happening inside a vehicle or outside of a vehicle that can cause a collision. So,
I see. And Sergeant Maggie, I grew up at a time when we were allowed to sit in the back of pickup trucks, and we're just out there enjoying the wind blowing in our faces, and we're seated on the actual bed, not on of course not the top ridges of the pickup truck, but any seating in the back. What does the law say with regard to that in the pickup trucks?
Verbatim, I'm gonna have to circle back to that, but
Okay.
I believe there are certain requirements as far as age and the number of occupants within the bed of a truck.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily that it's against the law to do that. It's just there are certain regulations that
Yes.
need to be complied with before individuals can sit at the back of their pickup trucks. Now, of course, the other thing we want to talk about is speeding, right?
Yes.
And I mean, that's preventable. Oftentimes if I think about the scenario of my kids, for example, when they were going to school at the University of Guam and they had their own vehicles, I would always tell them, don't speed to school. I mean, if you're going to be late for class, you're going to be late for class. I mean, I understand there's going to be consequences if it becomes a habit, but generally speaking, I didn't want them to think, I wanted them to think rather about the consequences of speeding and what that would mean in relation to being late for class. Well, I would rather you be late for class, and I point blank tell them rather you be late for class than to cause a crash, or to get injured by making the decision to speed. What sort of advice, or how could we impress that upon drivers about not speeding?
I think that's where an educational balance has to occur, because on one hand, we teach that it's not okay to be late, right?
Right.
Socially, in whatever capacity, as teacher or student, right?
Yes.
In your example, it's not okay to be late, but it's also okay not to speed. So
Right.
which one is priority,
Yes.
right? So I think we have to strike a balance, and it all starts again, circling back to the creating that conversation and creating a culture where safety is everybody's business. Safety,
Right.
everybody's invested in safety of oneself and of others. And I think if we continue to do that and keep those things in mind, that we give clear education or clear expectations for our youth, most especially our youth, because they can carry that into their adult lives. And if we start as young as possible, we can create that culture change.
Yes, absolutely.
Steadily.
And Sergeant Maggie, you said that really well. If we're talking about thinking about the balance and then also prioritizing, and it's also about being proactive about planning, right? So oftentimes the advice that I would tell them is, if your class starts at, just some practical advice, if your class starts at 8 and you know that it takes you about 30 minutes to leave the house to get there on time, then you know what? Give yourself a few minutes before, maybe you leave at 8:20, for example, so that you have cushion of 10 minutes, so you're not rushing. So that also, if you work backwards plan, that also means, okay, well, if that's going to prevent you from waking up on time, then what time are you sleeping? Maybe you need to go to bed earlier. So it's really just taking on this proactive approach. But, and it's also very situational and contextual, but that's where I would tell them, what, I don't think it's worth risking getting into a crash if it means you being late for class, right? So it's a very situational and specific thing in that particular situation. And I think about people who rush to work, who are trying to beat the time clock or clock in and are
'Cause
also
everybody has to be at work at 8, right?
Exactly.
So everybody's struggling in that 30 minute time frame, right? Because it takes 15 minutes
Yeah.
to get anywhere from one point of the island to the other.
absolutely.
But I really want to emphasize that education is prevention through education really is a starting point, because we can talk about safety. We can send messages for people to be safe, safe on the road, be safe in their home, be safe in the workplace, be safe internally, be safe at school. But if we don't give clear instructions on how to be safe in these areas, how to be safe online, then we've already lost their attention. We've already given them I guess a empty sense of the reasons why they should be safe. And I believe people are more inclined to follow a message or do things that promote safety if they understand why, right?
Yes.
You have to drive safe on the road. Why? Well, because these are the serious things that can happen. You have to be safe when you're interacting with people out in the public. Why? You have to be safe when you're online. Why? Right? So if we start to include in that conversation the reasons why, I think people will be more educated and be able to connect the dots and have that larger picture in their mind of the potential consequences should they choose not to be safe, or they're carelessly or recklessly, I guess, moving about their days.
Yes, totally agree. Now, with regard to driving under the influence, right? So, alcohol and drugs, of course, we know can impair a driver's judgment and reaction time.
Yes.
But we know that individuals still get arrested for driving under the influence. How would you impress upon someone who's listening to this recording and saying to themselves, "Yeah, but I can handle it. I know how many drinks are my threshold, or I can still handle it," or individuals who are taking other substances that are affecting their judgment and impairing them. What would you say to that individual?
I think that the pride and ego that goes along with "I can handle it" responses is not worth the serious consequences that may potentially wait at the other end or midpoint to where that crash could occur. There's no I guess shame in having a designated driver. I think if we also include that in the conversation, that's the new normal, right? Is to, I guess it's the cool thing, right? I have a designated driver.
Yes.
Do you? Right? If you don't,
Right.
we can share one, or plan ahead that preparedness. If you know you're going to consume alcohol, get a designated driver.
Yes. And Guam now, there's ride sharing
Yes.
businesses out there that, if you plan ahead, you can certainly get picked up and dropped off to where you need to be safely. And I think, would you say there's a shift in generations, like how maybe the youth of today are thinking about driving impaired versus maybe someone from Generation X or a baby boomer? In your experience with dealing with youth?
Yes. Yes.
How so? What's the difference?
I think the perception of the larger world out there, the generational understandings and practices definitely change, I guess, daily life. The introduction and the rapid evolution of technology has definitely put information out into the world that might be false, right? That I always say, trust but verify.
Yes.
But
do you think that mindset of getting a designated driver is probably more accepted by Generation Z or Y?
I want to say that there's a split, and because of different circumstances, and I was thinking about that while you were saying that last piece, because I just came from California and Nevada, so like you mentioned earlier, ride sharing has become a popular thing. It's become a thing of the future. Where I was just in San Francisco, and man, I forgot the name of the unmanned taxi. Yeah, it's just a vehicle that goes around, and it's a taxi. And I was so amazed at it, and my partner that I was with was like, "Oh, that's whatever, right? That's a vehicle that works as a taxi, but there's no
Yeah.
actual driver. So I downloaded the app, but I didn't get a chance to ride in it. But those things are like I said, a way of the future, and it's become more acceptable to use that. And using that as a designated driver, I'm sure there's regulations or rules within those private businesses to accept occupants that are intoxicated. But that's a daily thing for them. Here, I think it has potential to grow. I mean, I'm not promoting any kind of business model or endeavor,
Right.
but I think that would be a good idea to change that mindset and maybe adopt that's a new way of living. I mean, ride sharing definitely has benefits all around, and not just safety, economically too.
And a lot of times it's also how we position the message
Yes.
so that it becomes cool and acceptable, right? And oftentimes we realize that the use of social media and influencers, so to speak, can help push certain messages along. So I think that may be something that we're going to see in the future with regards to people incorporating designated drivers into their night out partying, so to speak. But also, Sergeant Maggie,
Can I ask you a question?
sure.
This is on topic and off topic.
Okay.
How do you manage your stress?
I manage my stress. There's several different things I do. One is I pray a lot.
Okay.
I consider myself to be a man of faith, so I pray a lot. Two, I go on walks, go to the gym. Sometimes that's the physical side where I need to release stress. Three, which is not necessarily the healthiest way to cope, but I binge eat.
Binge eat.
I do. I eat a lot when I get stressed out. Comfort
Okay.
food primarily. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like snacks or like full meals?
Full meals, ice cream, whatever makes me feel comforted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked because a lot of the decisions that are made that can prevent a potential prevent injury or jeopardize safety in the workplace has to do a lot with what's going on internally, right? Because if we're not thinking clearly, if we're reckless in the work that we're doing, right, as employees of the government, or if we're not emphasizing or practicing or promoting that safe environment, or distracted, in our minds, if we're stressed or things aren't really going well, for in emotional distress or in crisis, we're not inclined or thinking with clarity to use those safe practices. So
Right.
I was thinking about how much mental health plays into practicing safety and promoting safety,
Yes.
and how we can incorporate that in our complete message to the public.
Yes, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that. I mean, that's something in past conversations that I've heard you talk about mental health. I think that this has to be at the forefront of a lot of what we do, because what you're thinking in the inside is a reflection of the behaviors that you exhibit, right? And so if there's some root causes that need to be addressed, this is the time that I think we need to think about that. And if, in my mind, as I would describe it, if I'm an individual who has all these other distracting thoughts about how things are affecting me or what have you, the last thing I'm going to be thinking about is how to be a safer person.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And tying that into consuming alcohol, people who are not well aware or well equipped to or have positive coping mechanisms as an outlet, right? Sometimes they tend to engage in consumption of alcohol, and sometimes that doesn't make them think with clarity. Most times, it doesn't allow them to think with clarity. And then I was thinking about police work. And the rigors of the job. It requires us to make split-second decisions, and we need to ensure that we are mentally fit, right? Physically fit, and our emotions our emotion quotient is at an optimal level, so that we can make those split-second decisions that could help save a life, right? Again, we're in the business of ensuring that we live and thrive, and the public lives and thrives in a safe community. So Sorry,
Yeah.
my brain is like,
No,
how can
absolutely.
we promote this safety
Well,
thing in all our messages?
well, I think that you really bring up a great point, because we can talk about safety as much as we want, but if the individual doesn't accept the intrinsic value of understanding why we need to practice, safety measures, or be, take this topic, and be serious and intentional about how we apply it to our lives, then all of this is just talk, right? So how do we then translate it to action? And as I think about the decision to do that, people have different value systems, or what motivates and incentivizes them to want to think about other people, and it varies, right? About their safety. But Sarge, something that I was thinking about, and we probably, and thankfully, in my opinion, we don't hear about this all too often, but it does still happen. Reckless driving. When people are out on the roads and they're very aggressive, so their behaviors are like tailgating, or weaving in and out of traffic, ignoring traffic signs, and so
Yeah.
forth. What would a motorist do if they see that sort of thing happening in their vicinity?
I would definitely encourage them to call it into our dispatch, Guam Police Dispatch, 671-475-8615 through 7. Call in your observations and provide as much information to the officer or the dispatcher on the other end of that line, so that we can ensure we make contact with that operator and make sure everything is safe. And I was talking about emotion quotient earlier, our emotional intelligence, right?
Yes.
A lot of road rage is a product of that, right? If we feel, I say we, right, just for sake of conversation, if we get cut off on the road, I take that as a blow to the ego. Like, nobody gonna cut me off, right? And then I
Right.
start to, my road rage starts to go up and up and up. And if I don't know how to manage my emotions and respond to that, or even see it in a perspective that it might not be intentional, or it could be a blind spot, or new driver, right? I'm not equipped emotionally to respond to that. So if we start to also promote that message and include in our conversations on how to manage emotions, then I think we'd be better off as a community.
Yes, and to circle back and to tie it all in, for me, the way I interpret all that information is, me as the motorist experiencing that, it's going to take some kind of a decision not to take it personally.
Yes.
Right? Because it's so easy to say, what? You just put my life at risk here. You just cut me off. And to not take that personally. And it's hard to do that and just let the individual go, right? I mean, you want to keep your distance from that individual, but not try to challenge the person, or to try to call them out, because it's not your place to do that. It's not a safe decision to make. So internally, I'm having to respond in that way, managing my emotions, and then also taking a step further and saying, whoever this individual is, they're dealing with something
Right.
that I'm not able to help them with at this point in time, and this is something for the authorities to deal with. So creating a little bit of disassociating it to some degree, and knowing too what you can control and what's within your area of responsibility,
Yeah.
and what is not.
Yes. So, yeah, that would be the perfect opportunity just to call into our dispatch or any one of the precincts and report what you're saying, because the other driver wouldn't know what's going on in that vehicle, right?
Right.
That they might be observing that's driving recklessly. There could be a crisis happening in that vehicle.
Right.
And just that one phone call could give them the help that they need.
Absolutely. And that's something that I didn't think about, right? The person actually going through a legitimate crisis. And instead the interpretation is, you are cutting me off from traffic.
Yes.
How could you do that?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So I think it's being conscientious about other people as well, and understanding that they may be dealing with battles that we don't know of, and what they reflect to the world. We just have to be careful we're not misinterpreting
Yes.
that, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sarge, I enjoyed our conversation today. I prepared a whole bunch of notes, not knowing where this conversation will go, but we went down different paths, and I'm glad to have your expertise as we navigate this particular topic and the different things that we touched on. Before we wrap the show, is there something that you want to share, not necessarily on this topic, but just in general, about your work as a police officer, as a sergeant at the Guam Police Department, or just being a part of our community?
I would want to put out to the listeners, if you are with a government agency or non-government agency or even nonprofit organization that's interested in partnering with the Guam Police Department on any of these new to come or soon to be safety campaigns that Norm and I will be working on, give us a call. My office line is 671-475-8554. We can definitely schedule a meeting and we sit down and see how we can work together to build safer communities for our residents.
Thank you so much. So on behalf of Sergeant Maggie Napati with the Guam Police Department and our producer behind the scenes, Reese the Beast, I'm Norm Analista. We're going to close out this episode of Cop Talk. We'll see you next week.
FM, Daddy No. The talk of Guam is Wave 105 FM.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Iran retaliated